Today is June 16th, 2025. I almost said 2052. Isn't that weird? Because I am 52. Today, June 16th, a born Gemini, Natalie, me. If anybody knows Geminis, we know that Geminis are twins, meaning, well, some would say multiple personalities. I like to use the term multiple modes, M-O-D-E-S. It's not about multiple selves, S-E-L-V-E-S. I am Natalie, and I'm grateful today to be celebrating my 52nd birthday here on our small hobby farm. Hot as can be. I'm a filthy mess, hay everywhere. I just finished cleaning the chicken coops, the poops from the coops, and I'm truly touched. I'm truly touched. Well, beyond today, my birthday, every day, by those in life who embrace my sharings, beyond my videos, my life sharings, my stories of my life, my fairy tale adventures. I do talk to angels every day. And I'm not somebody who is into politics or religion, and yet I'm very close with heaven on earth. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes today from all the walks of life that I myself have crossed paths with, either in person physically or via social media in any which ways. I am a most grateful soul in this life. 52 years old today, and it was 1 year ago, last year, 2024, at the age of 51, while walking through the fields with my flock, that I heard heaven say to me, Natalie, Natalie, you are the Good Shepherd. Natalie, do you know it takes half a century, 50 years, to become one of the Good Shepherds in life? Well, imagine me sharing that with anybody in life. I did sound a little crazy, yes? I understand. I do understand that it does sound a little crazy when people go around saying they talk to God and Jesus and angels in heaven. It's not crazy to me, and I do know who I am. I'm Natalie, the Good Shepherd. And the Good Shepherd is not one who is all about leading. The Good Shepherd is about living the full circle of life, accepting all of life in such ways, and understanding that it is about life itself leading life. I rely on my flock to lead me at times. Heaven has three entities: God, Jesus, and Spirit. We, as people in life, have three entities: mind, body, and soul. It's not for whatever reasons, and yet it's reasons I don't need to understand or ask why. I fully embrace what heaven continues to deliver to me, Natalie, in my life, of which I continue to share with life, and I continue to smile for seeing all those who embrace what I share of my life. I do talk to angels every day. I began talking to angels as a little girl. I didn't exactly know, and yet I knew. These weren't childhood friends or classmates. Life is hard. It's not about and then we die. No. And yet, With that being said, what I have discovered with my life at the age of 52, life is hard. It's always going to be hard. And the more you continue to believe and embrace your own self, continue to learn beyond what life and the universe of this earth has taught us via education and people and neighbors and friends and coworkers and strangers and et al., I continue to delight in all that surrounds me and all those who do embrace me, Natalie. I have a beautiful life. I am blessed. I do have friends in high places, and yet also the other reality is that heaven is not just above in the clouds. Heaven is everywhere. Heaven is in the trees. Heaven is within our souls. Heaven is everywhere. And we are meant to live a life of fairy tale adventures as well as a life of metaphor and cliche. The grass is greener on the other side. Nobody can tell us where that other side is. Only we can find that greener grass. I thank my sheep for teaching me about the greener grasses. And yet, I also learned from my sheep that sometimes you find those greener grasses and they're lush and plentiful, and you can divulge too much and become very sick and maybe even die. For me, Natalie, my most grandest journeys began 3.5 years ago when my father-in-law died. And at that point, I really began to embrace beyond the notion, the reality that death is but a breath. Life is eternal. There is another space and place beyond this earth where we do live eternally. I am not here ever, any day, to preach or prophesize anything in life. I am here to share my journeys and adventures, which I am grateful have become, beyond metaphorically speaking, a literal fairy tale adventure every day of my life. With the death of my father-in-law, days prior to his death being but a breath, I met Jesus on Interstate 95. I didn't even know I never knew Jesus. From that moment forward, life became harder, more hard, more difficult, more painful. And yet, at the same time, I became more open because I met my soul. Or rather, Jesus had me meet my soul in such ways that opened up many doors for me to begin releasing and shedding such fears of sharing me, myself, and I with life. We sold our sanctuary home and had no idea where to go. We asked our realtor if we could maybe find a farm to rent, and she said, I don't think so. And yet there we found ourselves finding the only rent-a-farm in Florida in our area. Unheard of. Our realtor gifted us with our first farm animal, a rooster named Polly, R.I.P., who now is on the top of our genealogy chart here with now 40 birds on our little small hobby farm. Polly is at the top. Life is a pyramid. Christmas Eve, 2022. I picked up 2 baby lambs from a massive sheep farm who didn't laugh at me and yet was in awe, AWE, when I said, I can't wait to bring Johnny and Cash home with me. At that point, this farm had 2 Great Pyrenees dogs that stood by my side, and this family stood again in awe. They couldn't believe, they said these 2 livestock guardian dogs didn't like anybody, not even them. They asked me why. Why were their dogs sitting next to me? I kind of laughed. I was so excited to bring these 2 lambs home. Johnny and Cash, newborn baby lambs that we bottle fed. We didn't know where life was taking us. We knew we had a year rental on this rent-a-farm, and there was a lot of questions. Were we going to buy this rent-a-farm? Were we going to stay longer in Florida? What were we going to do? And then we found ourselves moving back home to North Carolina, to my husband's childhood home. That's when life really got hard for me, the Good Shepherd, who didn't even know at that point that I was the Good Shepherd. And yet, it was also at that point that I really began to embrace the ways that heaven works. And not just for Natalie, for everyone. Hindsight became a very important part of my life, in being able to look back and see that it was heaven who found the rent-a-farm for us and surrounded us with such persons that gifted us with our first ever farm animal. We did lose Johnny, our little lamb, at the age of 4 months old from getting into chicken feed and overeating, and that was a horrific moment. And anybody who lives on a farm knows that there are a lot of moments where we lose life of such animals. We have on our farm here what I named Beaver Hill Cemetery, which all began April 2024, when what I thought was a feral cat was hit by a car and catapulted into our farm. I carried that dying cat around for 9 hours in a baby Bjorn on my chest and never looked at this cat once, other than giving it pain medicine and thinking every second of that 9 hours this cat was dying. I didn't know it takes a long time to die, at times. After this cat died, I found myself really being captured by a fairy tale adventure when I looked at this cat and said, my, what big eyes you have. My, what big teeth you have. Why did I name you Beaver when you have a bobtail? Beaver the cat was a bobcat, and the first body that we buried here, and I named Beaver Hill Cemetery. I'm not here to preach or prophesize. I am here to share my life. And I'm most grateful for such venues and vessels and veins as social media in particular, to freely share whatever I share. I share my angel messages. I share my flock, my farm life. I share new life. We just had 2 new baby chicks born, my first frizzle ever, an early birthday present for me, which all began with a dream. I had no intentions of incubating any more eggs. In fact, I was told I shouldn't. And yet I had a dream. And I followed that dream, and that dream came true. And I now have my first ever frizzle baby chick. Life is meant to be a fairy tale adventure. Life is about metaphor and cliche. And it's never supposed to be about what we lose along the way. It is meant to be all about what we gain each moment of each day. It's not about being sick. I've been very sick, and yet I have maintained my faith and my hope, and I've relied on my flock to, at times, be the one who becomes my shepherd, literally and metaphorically, in leading me through the fields as well as picking me up from the fields at times when I've been really sick. Today on my birthday, I want to share with life that we are all meant to enjoy life, even when we feel we aren't and can't and don't. We are meant to redefine life every single day. And by redefining life, what I mean is redefining it in our own ways, by tapping into our own mind, body, and soul. When I say I didn't know my soul until I met Jesus at the age of 48, who does know their soul? Really? Even if you Google the word soul, it's kind of a vague definition. It's really hard for us in this life to capture and embrace anything that we can't touch or physically, scientifically validate. Heaven has three entities: God, Jesus, and Spirit. We have our own three entities: mind, body, and soul. I'm grateful every day for all that life allows all of us beyond Natalie, the Good Shepherd, to share with life. The beauties and joys, the sadness and the sorrow. There have been times where people have commented on my social media videos saying, "Natalie, we don't want to see you sad. We don't want to see tubes in your nose. We don't want to see you crying when one of your animals dies. We like the happy shepherd." The reality is, we all have emotions that are meant to be expressed and not held inside. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes. I am a happy shepherd today. I'm back on my reflux medicines after all of this long journey with my esophagus issues. It is onward, upward shepherd always for this Good Shepherd Natalie. Thank you for all of the love. And thank you for sharing such words with me that you enjoy the videos I share. That is my soul purpose, S-O-L-E, as well as my soul purpose, S-O-U-L, is to share my life in all its drudgeries and shams and beauties and dreams and amazing miracles and moments along the ways, so that we can all find greater purpose and peace and joy in our own lives. Sometimes it does take somebody who's a little bit out there, a little bit different, to capture our attentions in such ways. And once we can move beyond any notions of blaming, shaming, or judging, that is when we can truly begin to tap into our own being in such ways. We are all meant to enjoy life. Thank you for enjoying my life.